Check out and subscribe to our Delta Force video series at www.youtube.com/DF2 Studios. Alright, I'm going to be showing you some of the features on the game on Delta Force 2. This may apply to the other Delta Force games, I don't know. The first thing I'm going to tell you is that when you're starting a game, the one thing you want to do, and if you're actually hosting the game, or before you host it, and I'll go through a video on that one in a second, the different adjustments. We'll do that in a different future video, how to host and all that. The one thing is, when you're starting it, you want to avoid touching the V key on your keyboard. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be starting on the keyboard and showing you, first of all, I'll show you what position I'm at right now. I'm at, it says here C and D 4 and 5. In order to access this, you have to press the C key on your keyboard. When you first come in on the mission, you press the H key, because it will be like this, out of focus. It'll look real bad, real grainy like that. So you press the H key. You press the G key, it will tell you what your goals are. Eliminate hostiles. Search objective Cobra for package. Reach the extraction point. This is Operation Airmail, by the way. This particular one, you don't need law rockets. This is a stock map, and the original stock maps don't have armories, so it's important for the host, especially for the stock maps, to have a timer. But also, some of the missions, time is of the essence. After the 1 minute is over with, you have to go straight to the mission, because especially if you have to blow up the train or stop the train in time, because it could end up being a mission failure, or you're dealing with hostages. You have to be careful where you're shooting at when you're dealing with hostages. Or if, they say that you have to retrieve the code book and blow up the comm center, but the code book happens to be in the comm center. Common sense would dictate, so you have to take the code book out of the comm center prior to blowing up the comm center. So you have to use common sense when you're playing on Delta Force 2. We're going to go through here some of the features. We're going to on here, I'm going to show you how you could change the color of where my name is in a second. Right now, the easiest way to do this, and it saves time, is you press the cap locks key, and the button below the escape key on the far left hand side of your keyboard, you press command, and you simply press HUDCOLOR. Of course, we're going to go back to yellow. See, it goes to yellow, red. Is white. That's where we started off at. It's black. It's green. Blue. Yellow. That's the color we want to go at. Okay, we're going to be going through the first bottom, but before on the keyboard, or unlock the caps, this right here controls most of your buttons to go forward. If you look on the mouse, what I've got right now, I'll adjust it right now real quick. This kind of moves it back and forth like this. And this right here, this controls, if you can see it, this will control changing weapons. This button right here, I got my middle finger at, it's a scope, and you'll be able to see it. Watch this. This button right here. This button right here is the fire. Of course, on your keyboard, it does have the fire mechanism on a keyboard, but you save time by having it on the keyboard. We'll put it on single. This right here, as you see to the left part, I could be crouched, and then over here on the keyboard, right here on the end key, that controls up and down like that, and then the mouse, it goes down. It just goes up and down. It doesn't do like the end key does that. The arrow key, it goes forward. If you notice, back and forth. This right here helps you control. So the most keys when I'm playing the game, I'll use this right here, plus this right here, my mouse. So your mouse and your arrow keys on your keyboard will do most of the stuff, and that way you don't have to use all the stuff, because the mouse is your main controller along with it. So you have to use your right hand. I use my right hand for the mouse, it makes it easier, and my left hand for the controls on the keyboard. Okay, now I showed you the G key, and I'm going to go through the C key, the B key, and the N key. One thing you want to avoid doing, of course, if you do it, you mess around with it, you have to readjust everything. We're not going to go through everything on here. We're going to avoid going through F1 through F12 and some of those. I'll have to go to another video for that, because I'd have a hard time. We're going to avoid touching the V key, because it would stop this video. You may or may not hear me, but it would start again. So we're going to avoid touching the V key. That's when you first start to make the necessary adjustments. We're going to skip ahead and go up here to the now I'm going to press the K key. See what it says. You press it on and off. You see my name doesn't show up, so you press the key, the K key again. That was the L key we pushed there. Here's another button we're going to show, and then we'll go back down to the bottom key. And then, of course, I told you this right here. That's the H key. G key tells you what the mission goals is, and we told you how to change the weapons. Over here, when you scroll on your mouse, change the weapons. It tells you what kind of weapons you have, and also on the C key, it will show you what it is, and I'll show you that in a second. The S key will also, in addition to the thing on your mouse, it will also do it as well. But it's best just to use a mouse for that. It saves time. This is the A key. This is an audio message thing, and it's limited. There might be a way that you might be able to put more stuff on here than just that. But if you have this up like this, you can press any one of those buttons from 1 to 0. And we're going to go through every one of them real quick.
I need some help over here! Sniper on the hill! Cover me! Going in! Over here, sweet cheeks! Get down and stay down! Going in! It's hard work being this good. Who wants some? Quit screwing around!
key. We tried the D key and didn't do anything. The F key, if you look on the top right hand corner, it shows that it just that. Now we're going to go to the, not the very bottom, but the, you know, the keys where it says from Z to M. And we're going to start off with C, and then we'll go to B and N. On the C key, it shows the map. You look right here, you know, if you uncheck these, it takes away the grids and everything else. Everything disappears. So you want to make sure this is adjusted, highlighted. You want the people shown, the grid lines, and the names. It's got a focus on it right here, up and down. Zoom in. And this right here, on your mouse, you hold down, and that way you can adjust it. This is where our current position is right now. Because on here, I'm actually bordering C and D 4 and 5. And the insertion point, according to this, is at, I would say, H7, because it's right there at 7 instead of 6. Alright, we are going to press this button right here. This right here controls everything. When you get into this menu, it goes from here to here. Voice over net no longer works. I encourage you to use Discord. You can use Discord, Google Voice. There's ways. I'll make a video about how to get around this, but this no longer works anymore. I forgot how it was used. And you have the players, tells how many players are there, and team, the current weapons that you're using, that I'm using right now. It will tell you when you go to mission, it will tell you what the goals are. A little bit of information right there. We'll go back to the C key. At the very last of this video, I'm going to explain something to you. There's 2 more things before I go to that last part. There's really not a lot to go over this. You press the B key. I'm going to, of course, make it feel, and this is the binoculars. And you'll see where it changes the binoculars. See those little things right there, little strips with the scope? Well, you press the binoculars and it will come in better. At a distance of 307 meters, heading is 329. Now, on the guns itself, of course, we didn't use a Barrett sniper rifle on this one because I could really show you some neat features on it. But when you are have it in scope, for example, it will actually, this right here on the M4 carbine, you need to adjust it and keep pressing the E key, and it'll give you the maximum range. And then on the Barrett sniper rifle, it gives you up to 10. It's really, really close on the Barrett sniper rifle. Unfortunately, the Barrett sniper rifle doesn't have grenades attachment, and you cannot get the maximum amount of ammunition on it compared to the M4 carbine. So we went over the binoculars. You could really spot the enemy. When you're using the law rockets, for example, if you got, let's just say, this is an example. Let's say this is a law rocket. You got the scope on, and you have the target lined up with your crosshair. What you do, a lot of times the scope on the law rocket is not as good as your scope on your M4 carbine. So what you do is, and this is just a tip. Let's just say that you honed in on an APC, an armored personnel carrier, and it's 294 meters. Okay. What you do is you put it on the law rocket, and you make the adjustments for 294 meters. Make sure it's 294, and then put this crosshairs on it as much as you can. But in order to hit it, you have to make sure you have it at 294, and you could do that, and you'll be more accurate. And a lot of people don't. A lot of the players don't do that. And if they can't see it with their scope on their law rocket, use your M4 carbine to help you scope it out. I don't know if you could do it with the binoculars, but I would try the M4 carbine, because it will tell you. And just note, as it showed up there, right here, like that, for example, let's say it's at 290, and that's exactly where it's at. So you have to, on your scope, make sure it's at 290. Okay, now we're going to show something. We're going to press the N key, and that switches the night vision. Of course, it don't work in the daytime, but if you have if it's dark, like a red, or it's kind of dark, you need to use the night vision to help you see. Right now, it's totally useless. Like if we went inside here, for example, it's real dark. This is a good way of showing it. See, you could really see what's going on. It really lights it up. Outside, broad daylight, useless. Dark, you need to use it. There's one more thing we have to go over for messages. And before we talk about this, I personally think they could have done a better design. Over there on the top right hand side up there, it tells when a player comes in, if someone gets killed, and the adjustment messages and stuff like that. On the top left hand side is basically for messages, text messages, things like this. We'll get into that in a second. I think that they could have put all that stuff down below on the very bottom, and they could have figured out a way to do it, and it wouldn't have took up as much space. Of course, that's just a small area, and you could read. We'll talk about that at another time. There's two different types of text or messages that you can talk to the other players. You press the R key, and that's enter the message. Say like hello. Press the enter key, and it's in blue. You can hardly. A lot of them use that, but I can't see it myself, so I usually use the yellow key. I press Y, and you can see it a lot better. It's like green. You know, I usually use that one, the T. You see a difference. So I usually use the Y key. If you're not playing a death match, now the reason why they're different is if you're on team deathmatch, for example, you have to press the Y key so only your teammates can see the messages. And the T, that's where you can communicate with the opposite side. It kind of encrypts the messages on it, so that the other team can't see what you're saying. But if you're playing a co-op, I think it would be better. And a lot of players don't do it this way, and I wish they would do it. I wish they would just press the Y key. That way you could see it better. See how well that's lit up? It's lit up a lot better than the regular message. See? Can't see it hardly. I can't hardly see it myself. So I think it would be better if you use the Y key to message the other players. I think we covered it all, the basics on here. There's a lot of other things I could talk about, but that would be getting into the hosting and also the video recording and stuff like that. And you would have to have, like, if you're video recording, I would have to do a separate video on that one, and I would tell you what I do. How do I adjust it? How do I have the screen where I'm at, right at the very bottom? That way I'm not taking up any of this other space, because this is automatically going to be here where I'm at. It's going to show the stuff where I'm at. And this was the bottom center is the absolute best place where you could see me. And that was the ideal location. The top was just I ruled that out because you don't want to take up the text messages. When I had the name of the missions, when I first started doing this, I had them in the top left hand corner, and you couldn't really see the text messages. So every time I record a mission, I try to have the name of the mission on the top right hand corner, and the relevant messages is up on the top left hand side, so that people can see what's going on. Some of the missions I have them on the left hand side, but I apologize for that. But I had to make the necessary adjustments and put them on the right hand side. But when you're watching on YouTube or Facebook and you're watching these pre-taped missions, like I said, and all the players know how to do this, you have to look at the top left hand side. That's where your chat message is at. Is there things that they could do to make the games better, the features and everything else? There's probably room for improvement. But as it is right now, I don't see any problems as it is right now. You just have to learn how to play it. Practice, practice, practice. Always make sure you press the G key to know the goes. Always adjust this. You press the H key to get better definition. You need to know how to use the map to know your current location. You need to know how to use the map. You need to know how to use the binoculars, because you'll need to use the night vision. You'll need to use that. You'll also need to know how to use the A key.
I need some help over here!
there's all, you know, all this stuff. You need to know the basics when you're playing on Delta Force 2. And at Delta Force, the other Delta Force games, they probably have very similar to this. I've actually got a Delta Force book, which I need to show you that sometime. And a lot of the weapons are relevant to Delta Force 2. And you got Land Warrior, the Delta Force 1, and Black Hawk Down, and all the different ones. But this, I basically covered over the basics. You know, what you need to do. And again, I'm going to say it one more time. This right here, your mouse is your main controller, along with these right here. These arrow keys right here. That's basically all the weapons you'll be using mostly in your mouse, and you need to learn how to use it, play around with it, tinker with it, because it you know, you can get all the stuff done. Most people do it this way. That's how I do it. But some people might they might just use your keyboard all by itself, and I don't see how they can do it. But this is my main controller, and I just use my left hand to go forward. And once you coordinate it back and forth, you know what I'm saying? It takes a lot of practice going up and down. Also, there's one more thing I forgot to mention. I'm going to look and I'll show you on the keyboard. This right here, that's your space bar. This is your jump key, like if you're jumping. Let's just say you're in a base and you have bungee sticks that you have to jump over. You have to use the space bar, and it has I don't know if we have any ocean in this one. Let's see if we have any water. Where are we at right now? I'll probably try to show you something. There's probably a lake here. If you look on the screen, on the right hand side of the screen, you'll see where I'm at on the map. There's a miniature map. It doesn't usually have the grids. Okay, we're approaching this like lake, that type of thing. And this is another thing we should have covered. I'm going to cover it right now real quick before we end this. Yeah, right now we're laying down. We're on top of the water. If you want to go fast on the water, you press the arrow key and the end key. And there's been times it makes it go faster on the water. If you notice, I'm on the very top. And the life sign just shows the breath. And if you die by drowning or get killed by a piranha, they got piranhas in some of these missions, or get killed by the bungee sticks, it doesn't count against you. And I'll show you. It will show us at the insertion point. Of course, we went on the helicopter, and we're quite a ways. And you'll see that we're at the shows you're dead. Press the space key, the space bar, And right now we're at the insertion point. Now you notice it didn't count against me, but if you kill yourself, like you use a grenade, press space bar, I'll have a -1. So you have to kill a bad guy in order to get it back to 0. Of course, most players know this. See, it's back the way it was, 0. And we're just going to play for just a second, and we'll end it. On this particular mission right here, for example, the only thing you have to do is kill off all the bad guys and look for a code book and try to avoid being killed. And what I've done with this is you don't need to use a law rocket. And if you got a timer on it, for example, which you need that way you get the right, if you notice the videos I made, select weapons and armory for this mission. That's very important that you select the proper weapons. If it calls for you to blow up a comm center, and the armory is on the map, excuse me, the armory is on the map, but it's not at the insertion point, and it calls for you to blow up the comm center. The most important thing you need to do is, if you have APCs, if you have the for example, a crazy attack helicopter that's out of control, and you can't blow it up with a law rocket, for example, and that's usually the case in most of the maps, then you don't know it until it's too late. Now, if you're lucky to have the armory at the insertion point, and you have some crazy copter on the mission, then all you have to do to blow it up is simply use some of the maps, missions, it's not an issue. You can just blow up the copter and it's no issue. But sometimes some of them, there's a issue with these copters where they can't be blown up with law rockets or grenade launcher, and you have to use the satchel charge to blow them up, unfortunately. But you have to press the G key. If it says you have to blow up the comm center, you're obviously going to have a satchel charge. On all co-ops, it's better, and there's some missions you could do it by yourself. This one right here, this is easy to do by yourself if you know what you're doing, like with me, because I've been playing for a number of years. I could do this by myself, no problem, because I have 23 mags. I have the M4 carbine I got 5 grenades. I could completely level this base. This one right here, for example, if you look at it, the scope, you got like a bad guy here on the tower. I usually blow up everything. I'll take out the satellite dish, the AC-130. We got 2 AC-130s here. If you blow up these right here, this on this particular one, this is either a bad guy. They'll usually die, and then you got some bad guys in the air traffic control tower. But like I said, we're not going to go through this. But when I play this particular mission, I usually level everything. I'll use grenades on everything, and since there's no hostages to worry about, I just level everything. On this particular one, I wouldn't use the law rockets at all on this one. Just use the standard, all your max out, max it out. I got 2 crates of ammunition, 45 suppressor. That's all you need. So I think we covered over most of the basics and some of the, common sense rules, what you need to do. There's no need to cheat on the games. You just have to practice. If you have to cheat on the game, you're obviously not that good. And these hosts will not tolerate cheaters. I won't tolerate it either myself. But believe it or not, I've played on the game so long that I make the cheaters look like idiots. I tell them, I said, look, you don't have to cheat. Why would you cheat on a co-op? I don't play team deathmatch. I used to be good at deathmatch, but I don't usually play. I'm not usually good at team deathmatch. I'm usually better at the co-ops. But there's some co-ops that you have to have help from other players. You have to have at least another player to help you. Some missions are very difficult when you're dealing with hostages or you're running against time to get a goal accomplished. And sometimes it'll end up being mission failure. That's just the way it is. Some of them have glitches in the map, which makes it impossible to achieve the goals necessary to accomplish the mission. But as I said before, this is the basics. If you have any questions, you can email me, markdavis1865@gmail.com, and I'll answer any question you might have about the game, hosting, or whatever it may be. I'll answer any question. I know a lot about this game. I've been playing it for quite some time. Shooter is another one. He knows a lot about the game. What I don't know, other people know. So I hope I answered most of your questions. But we're going to conclude this video right now, and we'll talk about other topics later on. Check out and subscribe to our Delta Force video series at www.youtube.com/DF2 Studios.